What's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode. So I am working on the Mini right now and I'm experiencing a little issue. So when I took my exhaust manifold, no, that's a lie. When I took my downpipe and exhaust system off of the car, because I have a new setup right there, when I took it off, I found that a line of mine was leaking. So my turbocharger in my Mini Cooper is both coolant and engine oil fed, which means that you have two lines for each of those setups going to and from the turbo. So you have a line going to the turbo for oil along with coolant, and one going away from it, which is the drain for the coolant and oil as well. So I was looking on the bottom side of my turbo, and what I actually found is that this line right here was leaking. So this goes underneath, and this is the oil drain hose, let's call it that. So this here is the stock one. I didn't throw this out when I did the build, but I have an upgraded Mamba one. So this here is silicone along with like some nicer fittings. And the issue that I had was I had a leak on the bottom because of two things. So number one, this here is a rubber O-ring. So this is the one that came on the Mamba kit. So the issue that I'm having is that because this is now like rock hard, it's not exactly sealing as it should. So I'm guessing because it sees high temps, I think that literally eBay Mamba kit wasn't exactly doing the trick. So I bought a set of Nico, whatever you want to call it, upgraded chemical resistant O-rings. These should do the trick, and I have a new one on here. Now, what was kind of crappy is that I actually had a leak both on the top of this hose along with the bottom. So with that O-ring now solved, and actually I'm going to put a little bit of thread locker on there. With that solved, I had an issue on the bottom. So the bottom side was tightened up with this here. So this here is a gear clamp. So this gear clamp, once you put tension on it, it should hold in theory. But if you put a decent amount of tension on there, this will actually back off. To the point where I had an engine oil leak that was basically going down the side of my block. So after I jacked the car up in the air, I'm like, okay, why is there engine oil all on the side of this? That's why. So this here is the OEM one. So this is basically a spring clamp. So this here has tension on it already. So when you expand this to make it so that it fits around each one of the hoses, you're gonna have constant pressure on it regardless, there's no actual mechanical function. You have spring tension holding this down. So I'm gonna be swapping out the gear clamp that I had here for the OEM spring clamp here. So I have new ones on the way, but in the meantime, I'm gonna use this. If you guys have any kind of gear clamp on your car, take it off, I'm telling you. It doesn't even matter if you're working with your intercooler system. If you can take them out and replace them with better stuff, like a T-bolt clamp or something like that, or a spring clamp in this situation, you guys are gonna be ahead. So that's what I'm doing right now, and once I do this, and my camera stops, stupid, once the focus is on point, once I have that installed, I'm gonna show you guys what I have here. So this here is gonna be my solution to my problems. So when I took the car to the track, my Mini, the exhaust literally slid off of it because the hangers were not designed, well, for this car. It was a fully custom exhaust system. So this here is not like that. This here is a fully Mini Cooper made, really nice, larger piping, full stainless steel exhaust. So we're gonna get into that in a second. I had to take some heat shields out to get access to it. But actually, let me show you right now quickly what we're working with. So I have in here this. So I have the downpipe removed, and I have a bunch of stuff down in there removed as well. So down there you can see that we have basically parts of the oil cooler and that housing along with the line right there in the center. And that line down there was for the oil. So the oil feed line is up here, the coolant feed and return are found on the front, and the oil drain is found on the bottom. So once I figure all that out and put this together, I should be working, I should be in business. So after I go ahead and do that, I'm gonna be putting some thread locker on here. Now I wanted to show you guys this before I actually put this in the car. So take a look at this right here. This here is a Permatex high temp red thread locker. So this is not permanent grade, okay? It is red, it is not permanent grade. This here that has a red label, that is Permatex permanent strength red thread locker. This is permanent grade. So I am not going to be using this red permanent one for the bolt over here that secures the line up to the bottom side of the turbo or the cartridge. I'm gonna be using the high temp stuff. So there's the part number on there. If you guys wanna get some of this stuff, there's gonna be a link in the description box, but I'm gonna be using that along with the old hardware and the new seal to get my oil system to not leak. So just taking a quick look from underneath the car, there's a little nipple that's found on the top of the little black housing. That is where the line goes. and if you look up a little bit more, there's the turbocharger. So that hole and that threaded portion right there is where the line feeds into. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of regretting not ceramic coating my turbocharger housing, but I can't exactly do anything now about it unless I take the whole thing off, which is a decent amount of work. So I'm gonna send this for now. I'm gonna put this all back together, and then we're gonna get started with the exhaust work. And now with it all together, you can see that the line is connected both down here and up top at the turbo. So now moving on, I'm gonna show you what I did to my turbo to fix my wastegate problem. So when Luca and I went to the track, my turbo was underperforming. So it was only making, at most, 7 pounds of boost. So the wastegate is attached, and the actuator, to the turbo. So both of those components are attached on here. Now that means that if I have a problem with my wastegate actuator, my wastegate will not work, which means I won't be building boost. And that was what the problem was. So can you see down here, see the little nut that I have found on the rod for the wastegate actuator? So that was completely gone, which means that there was no function. So I removed the vacuum line that's found on the actuator over here. I took it off and I attached this line here, and this goes to my brake bleeder. So when I squeeze this down, this creates vacuum in this line, and then I should be able to simulate the actuation for the wastegate. So with this squeezed down, I should be able to see the rod pull in, and then the wastegate that's found inside the turbo move. Okay, so I'm gonna squeeze this and hold the camera here for you guys. Check this out. So you can see that it now functions. Now to make sure that this doesn't happen again, I double nutted this side. So there is 2 nuts on this far side and then 1 on this. So the one on this side and the closest one on this side are basically sandwiching together the arm for the wastegate onto the wastegate actuator rod. Now the second nut back here is basically jamming the first nut and the second nut together, which means it will not back off. Now, if that wasn't enough, I also put on red thread locker. So if this thing moves, I'm gonna be really impressed. But as of now, this works as it should. And take a look at the entire actuation. So the entire rod moves via the vacuum operated wastegate over here. Okay, so for the moment of truth, here we go. We have the box with the exhaust parts in it. It was really well packaged, I've got to say. So all this like foam stuff filled in the empty spaces that were in the box. I have the instructions, or just basically the parts that are included. So this is the downpipe, and then this here is the rest of the cat back. So you can see that this here is from Scorpion, and this has all of like the 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces with the tips and the clamps all in the kit. So I'm gonna be using all that to put, well, this whole setup on the car. So take a look at the size of all this piping. So this here, I just measured it. This is all 2 3/4 inch, 70 millimeter piping. This here is the downpipe with the same kind of mounting bracket as stock. And it looks pretty beefy, I'm not gonna lie. This looks awesome. And the welds look pretty clean too. So this here should be a nice healthy upgrade over the stuff that I have on the car. So I currently have an eBay downpipe with a custom catback, and the catback doesn't exactly look the greatest. The tips aren't aligned. I have a leak in it. It does work. It probably could use a little bit of work to make nice, but yeah, race car. Now, the one really sweet thing that I'm liking on this setup is the muffler. So my exhaust system right now is literally just a straight pipe of 2 1/4 inch piping with some tips and some hangers on it. So this is it right here. Now, there's not anything too crazy about it. There's not anything fancy. The hangers on it do not really fit that well. So when I went to the track, it fell off the car. So after taking a look at what I have here, so this new setup has these little hangers that have an end to it and on this side. So this here should not slide off. And I'll be reusing the polyurethane hangers that I purchased and that were on the car. So those are red. If you guys want to find that information, you guys can find some. But the cool thing about this is that this entire exhaust system is customizable. So you can choose between different tips. You can choose between resonated versus non-resonated. And basically, this setup that I have right here is gonna be able to make more power because it's larger piping, but it's also gonna be a little bit less obnoxious and loud. So like, I was basically driving my Mini last week up a hill, and there was a cop 2 cars behind me. I don't know why he didn't pull me over and give me a ticket, because it was stupid loud. Way too loud, if you ask me. But what I'm gonna be doing today is I'm gonna be taking this stuff, I'm gonna clean it all up, I'm gonna remove any oils that they put on the pipes if they did during shipping, so that when I ceramic coat the downpipe, it's going to adhere properly. So I'm gonna get that done today. I'm gonna let it dry overnight because it's kind of getting a little late, so it's 5-ish. I'm gonna be doing that outside, so I'm gonna clean up the pipe, I'm gonna ceramic coat it, I'm gonna let it dry, and then come tomorrow, we're gonna install it. So you guys can look forward to that. If you guys want, check out the straight pipe video for when I got this done. So the Mini was nowhere near as built as it was now. This was stock engine, stock JCW turbo. This is now built engine, bigger turbo, bigger piping. So this should be a nice upgrade, but I'm gonna get into the install tomorrow. As for today, I'm gonna get started with painting. All right, so I decided to do something, and I'm actually really happy that I did. So this here is the new downpipe from Scorpion. So this is a larger pipe than the old 2 1/4 inch piece that I had on the car. Now take note of the flange that's on here. Can you see how there's this little notch down here in the bottom? So this here is so that the actuator for the wastegate can move in and out. Now take a look at this guy here. So this Scorpion one does not have that. Now what I did before actually painting this, I test fit it first to make sure that everything fit. Now take a note of these little lines that I drew down here with a Sharpie. So this here is down on this line. This is excess from the gasket that I have right here. So with that being said, this is all overhang. Now what you're seeing here on this little peak is extra material while I'm comparing it to this. So this here allowed me to use the wastegate and allowed the stroke to move in and out. This one here does not. So if you want to install this just as it is with the standard flange, it will not work. You will not be making the proper boost, and the wastegate cannot actuate as it should. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to use a grinder or some way of cutting this down, just this little area here, and then test fit it. Because once I do that, I'll be able to get it to work, and then I'll be able to ceramic coat this new downpipe that I have here. Now, I also will not probably be installing any of this heat wrap that you see here from my old downpipe onto my new one, but we'll give it a shot. If the engine bay temps are too high, I'll take it out and I'll install this stuff on there. But in the meantime, I'm not gonna be doing that. So we're just gonna go ahead and grab an angle grinder and start chopping this. So using my angle grinder here with a cutoff wheel, I was able to make a couple like little cuts into the actual flange of the downpipe. Now you can see that it's pretty jagged. So I'm gonna follow this up now with my angle grinder with this grinding wheel. So this is just basically gonna smooth all this stuff out and make it so that I can install this. So I'm gonna just make this super smooth. So you guys see the little line? I'm gonna basically contour that using this grinding wheel. Let's see how it goes. So after a couple minutes with the grinder, that there is pretty much what I've ground off. So there's a decent amount of material that we had to chop, and it actually came out really good. Now I also used a file just to like make everything nice and smooth, but this here is pretty much ready for painting. So I can grab some VHT ceramic coatings for the paint, and I'll be able to use that and get everything made nice and black. So I'm gonna be using this here. It's a VHT flame-proof paint. Now you can see it right here. This is a ceramic coating. So I'm gonna spray this down on the entire downpipe. If you really want, you can do this for the entire catback, but I think it's gonna be a little bit overkill because this isn't gonna be seeing as hot of temperatures as the downpipe and the turbo. So if you guys are planning on doing this kind of project, definitely do the downpipe. And if you guys can, if you have the turbo out, paint the hot side of the turbo and maybe even the cartridge. I did it to my JCW turbo, and I kind of wish I did it to this thing. I'm kind of regretting it. So with that out of the way, next up is going to be addressing the catback. So from the looks of it, everything seems to be a lot bigger piping. So that's what we're expecting. These here are the pieces of the puzzle. So you can see that we have the front pipe, we have a clamp, mid pipe, another mid pipe, clamp, muffler, tips. So all of that is in here. So I'm gonna lay all this out to see what we're working with. So depending on the kit that you guys buy, you're gonna have different kind of tips and different kinds of mufflers or resonators. So for this setup here, this is a non-resonated muffler setup. Now I opted for what are called their Daytona exhaust tips. So this here is essentially just a rolled tip, and it's polished like this. It's got their company Scorpion lasered or etched on the top of it, and my fingerprints are making this look gross. We'll clean that up later. But this here can also be done in a ceramic finish, kind of like what we're gonna be doing to the downpipe. So you can get it in a Monaco, so like this, ceramic or polished, and there's another one of them in here somewhere. There's the other tip. And you can also get it in what's called their Monaco finish. Now their Monaco finish is going to be a little bit different. So instead of having a tip that's like this, it's got a rolled edge, where this here is not of that style. Now if you ask me, I think this looks really good. Polishing this is going to be a lot easier than the other kind, but whatever tip you guys get, this is the Daytona, you guys are going to be getting 2 of them. So I'll set that aside. It's going to come with all the hardware that you need. Now for my car, this here is the flex pipe, so that's the front piece. This straight one, because I got the non-resonated one, this is a straight piece of pipe. If you guys want a resonated one, this one here would come with a resonator on it. Following that, there's this back piece, and then there's the muffler. So this is pretty much all straightforward. There's only clamps, there's no welding that's needed for this. So you can see there's the 2 outlets here and the 1 inlet there. Now we're gonna see some pretty good healthy upgrades from this. Now the best part of all this is that this stuff is made in the UK. They do everything in-house. Now the dope thing is that this got shipped and sent to me in 2 days. So from the UK to my door in Canada, 2 days. I'd say that's pretty damn good if you ask me. So what I'm gonna do next is basically open all the stuff up, lie it all down, and then orient it so that tomorrow we can install this once the downpipe is done with the ceramic coating. So starting at the front of the exhaust, you can see that we have the same kind of clamp that we had on our stock setup. So this is a V-band clamp. We have a flex pipe up front. Now this all goes back into 2 3/4 inch piping. These red hangers that you see right here are made out of polyurethane, and these will not stretch and wear like the regular OEM rubber ones. We have a clamp, moves back to the straight section. So again, this is where the resonator would be if we had one. This then connects this pipe to this pipe with another clamp. You can see we've got like a little bend here. This then transitions to the muffler with a clamp. I'll take the packaging and everything off the muffler tomorrow once we install it. We've got 2 clamps and then the 2 tailpipes. So this all should be really nice. It should stick out a little bit past the rear bumper, and it should give us a little bit of extra power. So once this is all dry, that's going in the car, and then following that is gonna be everything over here. So once that's all done, I'll show you guys the install, I'll show you guys how it sounds, and we're gonna beat on this thing. So knock on wood, the turbo should be fixed after that. The entire exhaust system is gonna be upgraded, and we're gonna be able to see some healthy power gains. Now, I'm not entirely sure, but I may also have to contact my tuner to change the tune-up for the car. So my tuner, RPM powered, made a custom tune for all the hardware that I have. Now that I'm changing the hardware, I should in essence have to change the tune. So I'll message him and I'll get back to you guys about it. But tomorrow the install is going down. If you guys want to find more information about the exhaust system or any of the stuff that I used today, you guys can find more information in the description box. Now tomorrow this is all going down, so we're gonna see some we're gonna see this little Mini breathe again, and hopefully with some fire out the back. Should be fun. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.